Certainly glad that you have joined us today for Market Day Report. I'm John Jenkinson, and over here in the grain market right now, we're on the higher side with the corn, up about 1 1/4 cents. And this was after a market got off to a pretty quiet start earlier in the day. May corn up 1 1/4 at 379.5. December new crop corn up 1 1/2. It's at 401.5. May soybeans are up 2 1/2 at 906 1/4. November soybeans are up 2 pennies at 939.5. May Chicago wheat up 3 1/4 at 469.25. July up 3 3/4. July Kansas City wheat up 4 cents at 457.5. July Minneapolis wheat is down 3/4 cent at 570. In the cotton market today, we've got the May up 43 at 77.01. The December up 26 at 75.56. Joining us right now is Todd Bubba Horwitz with Bubba Trading. And he's here to talk to us about these markets, where he thinks that this is all coming from. First of all, we've seen a little bit of a, maybe a little bit of a firmness here in the grain market here over about the last hour or so. What do you think of that?
Good morning, John. Well, listen, we've been talking for the last couple of weeks here. We look to the bottoms have put in the markets, and I think that is the way it is. And I think what we're going to see now, I think we're going to see some big whippy action back and forth. If you're watching any of the other markets right now, they've all been running up and down all day long. And corn everything was a little bit lower, than it took off to the upside, came back a little bit. And I think that's the kind of action, and that's what kind of indicates that we might see significantly higher prices. I think the lows are in. I think we have a lot of room to go on the upside. And there are now, there's a possible weather event happening now. So there's a lot of things going on that could drive these prices. And if you force the short side, you could have a massive short squeeze here, which would even push them higher. So I think we're on the right side of heading north right now, and I think we continue to head north. But there will be some very whippy action, so I wouldn't just say they're going to go straight up. There's going to be a lot of action here.
Todd, how much nervousness do you think is in this grain market ahead of the report that's going to be out on Friday with the planting intentions?
I don't think a lot. I think a lot of people have already kind of priced it. And again, this goes back to, John, there's so much technology out there. There's so much information versus what there used to be when we all first started in this business. We didn't get it so fast that now most things are priced in. Unless it's a major miss or a major gain, I don't think the reports will ever have too much of effect. They might have a knee-jerk reaction because they open them up into a liquid market at 11 o'clock our time. But other than that, I don't think it'd have much reaction at all. I think the street will probably, though, overprice it one way or the other, and we'll have a much better gauge by Wednesday or Thursday morning is which way the street is leaning based on what they know already.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the livestock trade and the meat markets. We're going to do that next. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up in just a moment here on the Market Day Report. Okay, let's go straight over here to the livestock futures trade. We're lower on the live cattle market by at least $1 in a lot of these contracts. April down 128 at 128.45. June down 133. August down $1.10 at 118.92. The October, though, is down only 57 compared to the rest of those contracts. Feeder cattle market for April is down 55 at 148.25. May feeder cattle are at 153.40. That's down 65. And the August down 55 at 158.78. April hogs up 8 at 78.40. May hogs down 98 at 86.05. You can see where a little more of this activity is taking place. June down 83 and the July down 38. Let's go back and talk with Todd Bubba Horwitz of Bubba Trading. Todd, you had mentioned that maybe things were getting a little toppy over here in the livestock trade.
Well, I think, John, we had some pretty good movement. And now I have to look at it from this side, though. We had a fairly bearish cattle on feed report Friday, at least from the people I talked to. They thought it was fairly bearish. We're not really getting a big sell-off here from actually recent highs, right? So I think you'll probably see a little bit more selling to come back in the cattle markets. And I'd be looking at April feeders at about 148 to be a buyer again. I'd be looking at the April live cattle somewhere, in the 127 to 128 range, which we're approaching now. And I think we're going still higher. I think there's a lot more room to go to the upside. I think the hog market might have topped in this area here just for temporarily. Again, I'm still very positive and very comfortable with hogs, but they had such a big up move. You realize they went up 42% in about 2 weeks. And you could see the action at the end of the week that everybody was just buying to get out because that's what they call a good old-fashioned short squeeze. The options volatility was exploding to prices that could never happen. So I think they settled down here a little bit. I think you'll see a little bit of a pullback. And I think the whole market, the whole complex, grains and livestock, continue to try to work their way hard.
In your opinion, was this pullback healthy?
I think it's great. I think when you look from a technical standpoint, anytime you have a market that is going up, it pulls back to a support level, holds, and goes up. I think that's just very healthy. And again, you take the cattle on feed and the high price of corn today, you know, the rallying corn, and feeders are only down, what, 30 cents or whatever it is, or 55 now. I mean, that is pretty dang strong when you look at it from a bullish perspective, because, again, it should be a lot lower, and it's not. So to me, that looks pretty positive.
The Feds met, and they said they're going to kind of leave interest rates right where they are. What are your thoughts there?
Surprise. Listen, they're too worried about trying to manipulate the money. They keep talking about the lack of inflation. Okay. In the meantime, I know that farmers and producers, they're selling their goods for less, and they're paying more for the services that they need. So you explain to me how that's not inflation. They're going to make a big mistake here at some point by not letting the free market take over, and then that'll cause a problem in the equity market. For grains and livestock, I think we continue to go higher no matter what. But at the end of the day, I think they did exactly what is expected, which is why the markets are reacting the way they are.
Todd Bubba Horwitz, Bubba Trading here with us. Todd, thank you very much. Brand new cutout information out here just moments ago. Beef cutouts here at midday are on the mixed side. The choice down 27 cents to $28.82. The select's up 69 cents. And so that's kind of where things stand right now, Christina, just kind of moving through this Monday.
All right, thank you so much. Markets editor John Jenkinson.